morning. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. I was just reading something that I want to read for today's show. Anyway, today is Thursday. It is the 9th of June. This is the 24th episode, if you can believe that or not. The 24th episode of season 4 of the Be Your Own Hero show. HERO is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, helping others helps you. It is a reciprocal action. Try it. You just might like it. I'm your host. I'm sekouwrites. I am a professional creative, which means I do a lot of different things. Primarily, I suppose, I'm an author, journalist, speaker, and jewelry maker, and playwright. And I'm also the creator of the Hero Ministry movement, which is my effort to uplift and inspire people in general and the unhoused community in specific. So join me here Monday through Friday, 8:45 a.m. Central Time, and you can do the math for your local time zone. Okay, shout out to New Thought Media Network for allowing me this opportunity to be here and talk about my journey of becoming my own hero in a number of different ways, including financially. And just a reminder, I am not a personal trainer nor am I a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence. Okay, all that said, let's get into it. Shout out to the people who are checking in the chat. Shout out to Nan, Howdy. Shout out to Tim. I did not drink the water, Tim. Looking around to see if I have any water. Okay, I have some water in the room. I'll drink some water in a second. Okay, so Hero Ministry Movement News. Let's talk about the run streak. It has now been 374 consecutive days that I've been running. That is amazing even to me. And what's even more amazing is what I've been able to do in that time, which is raise more than $7,000 for 10 different charities. And now we are on mission for charity number 11. My goal for June, which is my birthday month, June is my birthday month. So my birthday goal is, I should just play the run report. You know what? I'm too far into it now. I'm just going to talk it out. I won't do the run report. Check out social media for my run report. But my birthday goal is twofold. Number one, I've upped the ante for myself. My minimum for the past year has been a minimum of 1 mile a day. I've upped the ante to a minimum of 2 miles a day, at least for the month of June. That's number one. Number two, my goal is to raise $3,650. That is a derivative of 365 because I've been doing this for now a little more than a year. This is my year anniversary month. So $3,650 for Back on My Feet nonprofit. I'm very excited about that nonprofit because it combines two of the things that I'm passionate about, running and working with the unhoused community. So that's where we are. If you want to join the movement or share the movement, just go to HeroCharityRun.com. HeroCharityRun.com. Let me put that on the screen. And also, as I mentioned earlier in the week, I have placed the story about me that was on channel 2 at this link. So you can watch that story again and share it with people. And it would be great to share this whole link with someone who can therefore see the whole story. They can see the news story about me, but also all the nonprofits that I've donated to before and the current nonprofit, Back on My Feet. And the kicker to all of this is when, not if, but when I'm able to raise the $3,650 for Back on My Feet, that also secures my bid to compete in the 2022 New York City Marathon. That's a sentence I never thought I'd be saying. Never thought I'd be saying anything about being in a marathon. Even during this journey of running, that's not something I ever thought I'd be saying. But here we are, and I'm going with it. So shout out to the folks who have contributed thus far. Shout out to the folks who have shared thus far. The sharing is really critical, mission critical to get the word out beyond this bubble and let people find out about it and get involved. Okay, so that's my pitch for this current mission of the Sekou Hero Charity Run and the website, HeroCharityRun.com. All right, so I got a quick story. First tangent of the day. Quick story. So today I ran at Fisk University track. Those of you who've been watching the show for a while know that I began this journey at Fisk University track a year ago, last June, last year's birthday month, I began running at this track. And so I go back every once in a while. And today I went a little later than usual, which only means, the only reason I mention that is to say that there are other people on the track. Usually I run so early that there's no one on the track. So today there were 2 women on the track. And then as I ran around, a couple more people came. So 4 people total. Anyway, the 2 women were on the track after I got there, and I kept passing them, and my headphones lost their power maybe, I don't know, halfway through my run. So I took them off, and then I was just listening to the environment. That means that I was able to overhear bits and pieces of a conversation. Like I'd go past them and catch a little piece of conversation. I go past them again and catch a little piece of conversation. So in my laps around the track, catching pieces of conversation, something stood out to me. That is that they were focused on what other people were doing. So there was a period of time where I'd passed them and they were talking about how so-and-so wouldn't come to walk with them, right? And then there was another period of time where they were talking about how these people that they were watching on their phones were doing too much and they should be tired and they should stop, right? So 2 extremes, going from worrying about someone else doing too little to worrying about someone else doing too much. And the lesson is simple. Stay in your lane. Now, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to us. This is an excellent reminder to stay in your lane. Don't worry about what someone is or isn't doing. Do not worry about what someone else is or isn't doing. You worry about you. You stay in your lane. You worry about what you are or are not doing. Working on yourself. Once you really begin the work, working on yourself is enough work. You won't have time to worry about what anyone else is doing. And if you're still worried about what other people are doing, I got a test for you. Test and a challenge. This is actually something from Toastmasters. So for the rest of the day, every time you find yourself saying someone else should or some entity should or what anyone else should be doing, I want you to touch your nose. Take index finger, touch your nose. Every time you hear yourself say should, touch your nose. So they use this in Toastmasters to cure themselves of using filler words like and So every time they say you touch your nose, touch your nose, touch your nose. You do that throughout the day, you become aware of when you're about to say and then you can stop yourself. So that's a trick that I've adopted from Toastmasters. We're going to use it today to challenge ourselves to not be worried about what other people are doing. You got enough work worrying about what you are doing. You got enough work. Trust me. If you stop worrying about them, you start worrying about you, you got enough. You got enough just worrying about what you do. So all day today, you hear yourself say, if you hear yourself say should about someone else, touch your nose. Touch your nose on every should. See how many nose touches you get. Hopefully none, but probably a lot. Watch yourself. All right, so that's what happened on the track today. Moving on from that little bit of a tangent, let's get on to some more stuff. So as I mentioned, I've been teaching at FIST. I've only had 1 class so far, but I just wanted to tell a quick story. Do I have time for a story? I will circle back. Let me get into the meat and potatoes of what we're going to talk about today. And if I have time, I will circle back to the FIST story. Okay, let's move on. So Mornings In, as you know, if you've been watching the show, I've been talking about learned optimism. That's a book by Martin Seligman. And I've also been talking about a book called The Happiness Advantage that I learned about on my trip to Idaho recently. So before I go any further, I want to double down on the definitions that we've identified thus far. So the first is positive explanatory style. And to define positive explanatory style, we also need to define just explanatory style. So I'm going to read that definition again. Here we go. Explanatory style, reading from my phone. Explanatory style is a psychological attribute that indicates how people explain to themselves why they experience a particular event. One more time. Explanatory style is a psychological attribute that indicates how people explain to themselves why something happened, basically. It's how you explain to yourself the world around you, the events around you. In a positive, explanatory style simply means looking at the events around you and explaining them in a positive way. Right, so we're going to come back to that in just 1 second. I just also want to remind you that metacognition is thinking about your thoughts. Metacognition is thinking about your thoughts. And they say that only human beings, at least on this planet, only human beings have the ability to do this, to think about our thoughts, to critique our own thoughts. And so you put those things together and you need to be thinking about your thoughts in a positive way, especially your negative thoughts. Ooh, I feel a tangent coming. Okay, there is a quick tangent. In this book, I can't think of the title right now. Oh, actually, this might be Learned Optimism. From Learned Optimism. Even an average amount of pessimism will ruin your life. Strong, right? I'm gonna say it again. Even an average amount of pessimism will ruin your life. You've got to have a baseline that is high positive to change your life. So that was a quick tangent. I'm not going to go too far down that rabbit hole, but the idea is you have to have a high positive baseline to change your life. Okay, so I said I was going to come back to positive explanatory style because yesterday Nan asked me for an example, and I gave one based on my interview experience with Channel 2 News recently. I want to give one based on the stock market because we're talking about finance here. So this is a good one. There is a friend of mine who always laments not buying a stock at a certain price, right? So in his case, he was going to get in on the stock early, didn't get in on the stock early, and then never bought the stock. And still to this day tells a story about how he almost got in on that big stock. And the stock is huge now. So is it fair to say that he would have made a lot of money if he gotten in on the stock when he wanted to get in on it? Maybe. That's honestly all we can say is maybe. Yeah, that stock is huge now, but as we have learned in this show, it's not just about the stock price. It's more about your mindset. So even if he had gotten in at that point in time, would he have been able to stay in and ride the ups and downs and have the mindset of owning his tomorrow for the long term? So that is a tangent within a tangent, but let me finish the example. So the way he's explaining this to himself, his explanatory style is negative. Oh, I missed out on that. Wish I hadn't missed out on that opportunity. I'd be so much further ahead now, right? So a positive explanatory style applied to that idea is something like, I have a nose for stocks. I'm a good stock picker. If I picked that stock before and I knew it was going to explode and it did, then I can pick another one. That's a possible positive explanation of what actually happened. Here's another one. I can still get in, which, as we know from this show, is true. Like, even if you miss the IPO, which is dangerous, by the way, anyway, even if you miss the IPO, you can still get in on the stock at any point, especially if it's vetted, meaning if it's a part of the S&P 500, meaning smarter minds than us have figured out that it should be a part of the S&P 500, that it should be a part of the Dow, that it should be a part of the NASDAQ. Other people have already vetted it. So an IPO is, by its nature, not vetted. It hasn't been vetted yet. So that's a gamble. But once the IPO, which means initial public offering, once that happens, the stock becomes available to the public, people start buying it. And then the powers that be decide that that stock is valuable enough to be in the Dow or the NASDAQ or the S&P 500. Now it's vetted. Now you can still buy into that stock and be relatively certain that it's going to do well because other people are doing the work for you. They're vetting it for you. Right, so anyway, circling back, my point is that my friend could apply the explanatory style of positivity by saying, I can still get in, which is absolutely true. Like, yeah, you can choose to fixate on the fact that you didn't get in at the IPO. Or you can change the story and say, I have a nose for stocks. I knew that stock was going to do well. It's doing very well. I'm going to get in now and still make money. Right? It's all about how you look at things. What happens doesn't change. Life happens. It's going to slap you in the face sometimes. That's just what it is, right? But you can explain getting slapped in the face in a positive way. And the more you do that, the better your life becomes. Not maybe the better your life becomes, definitely the better your life becomes. Because you become accustomed to looking for the best of everything. That's essentially what it is. And we've talked about the reticular activating system, which is built in, hardwired into all of us. There's no one that doesn't have a reticular activating system. And I call it the filter seeker. It's hardwired in all of us. As you seek something, your mind, the filter seeker, starts filtering for what you are seeking. So as you look for the best in everything, it feeds you the best in everything. It starts showing you all the wins all around you instead of all the losses all around you. Which, by the way, is why the news is so dangerous, because it feeds you losses. I'm not going to get on my soapbox about the news, but I'm just saying, you think about the way the mind works, the way all of our minds work. We all have a reticular activating system. And what it does is it filters and it seeks, right? And so the more you seek positive wins all around you, the more you will find wins, the more your mind will say, oh, is this what we're looking for? Let's bring more positivity in. All right, I know I'm off on a tangent, but all this stuff works together. And the big point that I'm making is I was shocked to discover that there is a manual for the mind. Most of us go through life just living, right? But once you start studying this type of information, you realize there is a manual for the mind. There is a way to be. There is a way to tweak the levers, tweak the knobs and flip the levers that is optimal for your well-being. Okay. I don't know. Chat box is real quiet. Chat box is real quiet today. I might be on my own on this one, but I'm telling you, the more you read about this type of stuff, the more you will see that the information aligns. The information aligns. Okay. Moving on. I hope that was a good example of positive explanatory style as applied to the stock market. And again, positive explanatory style is what you should apply in your life all day, every day, and it will serve you well. Okay, moving on. Let's get to the dice roll challenge. So my mom made a comment about coffee yesterday, so I just want to make it clear what I'm saying. I'm saying we're spending the amount of a cup of coffee. Well, spending is the wrong word. We're investing the amount of a cup of coffee in our future. Now, I'm not saying don't get the cup of coffee. You want to get the cup of coffee, still get the cup of coffee. But get 2 cups of coffee. Get 1 cup of coffee that you actually drink, and then set aside the money for the other cup of coffee. Right? I'm not talking about limiting your behavior, limiting what you do. I'm talking about owning your future, owning your tomorrow. By the way, one more sidebar. So of my portfolios, my Schwab portfolio is my least favorite because the user interface is really clumsy. It's awkward. But I find myself logging into my Schwab account almost daily. Why? For one reason, because when you log in, the first thing it shows you is this phrase, own your tomorrow. It's like a mantra. It's a Jedi mind trick. And I feel like I'm hypnotizing myself to own my tomorrow. And it's just a different way of thinking. It's about sacrificing today for your future tomorrow. And that's what this is. That's the point of this dice roll challenge. So without further ado, let's roll the dice for Thursday. Let's see what we got. Dice roll 2. We've got a 2. So let's see. I guess I don't have to do all the numbers today, but That's the lowest number for this week. So easy day, $2. Take $2 out of circulation, put it into an account for investing, put it into a money jar for investing. It adds up quickly. Don't think, oh, it's only $2. It's not going to make a difference. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Keep doing it. It's going to add up, and then you can invest, and then you'll be in a different position. I don't know if you just heard the car horn, but the car is co-signing what I'm saying right now. So today's dice roll challenge, $2. Okay, so abundance. Let's do some affirmations, and let's get into some abundance, because I want to say more about Amazon. I was talking about Amazon yesterday. I want to say more about that. Okay, affirmation. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Get it in your bones. Feel it in your spirit. All right, and here's my quick reminder. If you only spend, you'll stay poor. If you only save, you'll stay middle class. If you want to change your financial life, you must invest. It's not optional. It's not optional. You must invest. And on this show, we've been talking about investing in the stock market. There are many investments, but I'm going to stick to what I'm learning about, which is the stock market. Okay, so let me see what's going on in the chat. I've been bumping my gums, as my friend says, for a minute. Let's see. All right, I appreciate that. I appreciate that cosign. Man, we have a choice about what we pay attention to and what meaning we give to things that happen. Yes, and we can change our mind. We can change our mind. That thing that you think of as the big fork in the road that sent you down the wrong path, you can remix your thoughts about that thing. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for something else to happen. That thing right now. So in my friend's case, thinking about that one stock that got away is driving him crazy. He can choose right now to remix that thought into a positive. And then all of a sudden, the load is lifted. It's like this kind of dips into neuro-linguistic programming, which I probably don't have enough time to go into now. But in neuro-linguistic programming, it shows you how to remix your thoughts. It gives you tools for using visualization to remix your previous thoughts. Well, your bad memories, remixing your bad memories. It's possible and doable. Okay, and absolutely, you must pay yourself first. And that is a habit. It's a muscle you've got to build. And so I can say for myself in the beginning, when I first started doing my equivalent of the dice roll challenge, I kept thinking, oh, it's not enough money. It's not enough money. It's not going to make any difference. This is a waste of time, blah, 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 blah. Right? But then when I did it relatively consistently, not even 100% consistently, relatively consistently, I was shocked by how much money I was able to accumulate in such a small amount of time. And if you've been watching the show, you know that I was able to wipe out the debt on a credit card completely just with the dice roll challenge. I mean, that's not what I intended to do. I intended to invest it. But the point is, it works quickly. It works quickly if you do the work. All right. Let's see. Yeah, yes, Linda. You gotta put a priority on your investment funding and paying yourself higher than your cup of coffee, for sure. And also, it's baby steps, right? Is that my alarm already? Oh no, I've been sidebarring too much. Okay, it's also baby steps. You've got to build the mental equivalency of setting money aside, of paying yourself first, of investing. It's all practice. Because speaking for myself, I used to always think, oh, when I get a big lump sum of money, then I'll learn how to invest. It doesn't work like that. Because then you're going to have a lump sum of money and you're going to be an amateur investor. There's no way you're going to be able to know what to do with that money. That's why most people who win the lottery end up broke again. They don't know what to do with the money. You got to practice knowing what to do with the money when you have small amounts. So that when the big money comes in, you know what to do. Okay, I've been sidebarring so much today. I don't know what's going on with me. Anyway, let me get back on track. There's a couple of things I want to say. So yesterday I asked people to put 1s and 2s in the chat. to find out who's doing the car challenge. And only one person is doing the car challenge. So I just want to circle back to this because it's not about the car. I repeat, the exercise is not about the car. It's about having an abundance mindset. It's about owning the idea of having the best. You're practicing with a car, but it's not about the car. It's about the practice of claiming what you want, not what you think you can have. Because then you can apply that to other things. So in this case, let's say you manifest a car and you don't really need or want a car. Worst thing that can happen in that case is you've got 2 cars, right? You sell one, you put the money in the stock market, you invest in an index fund. All of a sudden, now you've got residual income, right? There's no reason why you can't claim a car. And again, it's not about the car. It's about the mindset of not limiting yourself, not saying, oh, I'm fine with what I have. Oh, I don't need a car. Oh, all the things, because that's what happens to all of us when we start reaching for abundance in any area. Our mind says, no. We're good right here. Let's stay comfortable right here. That homeostatic impulse. Let's just stay right here where it's comfortable. So the car is just a way to push against your walls. Just push outside your belief box and also practice fighting those excuses that pop up and say, I don't really need to do that. Because it's not like, you can't be limited about a car and then abundant about money. It's all the same. It's all the same mindset. It's all the same attitude. So you have to be abundant in all your thinking to be abundant in any of the categories. You've seen this with me. I've been talking about being abundant for most of the pandemic, and you've seen it manifest in many different ways in my life that I had no idea it was going to manifest in. Who would think it would manifest in running? That's certainly not what I thought when I started saying I am abundance, right? So abundance manifests in all the ways. And if you limit it in one area, it will be limited in other areas too. So keep that in mind. I'm not going to nag you about the car affirmation, but be mindful that it's not about the car. It's about the mindset. So quick plug, if you have not listened to my podcast yet, Get Rich 101, listen to my podcast because it's all about mindset. It will help you stretch your mind. It will help you get used to the idea of thinking about abundance as not only possible, but your divine right. Your divine right to be abundant. To be abundant. All right? Not just what you think you can have. Not just taking what you think you can have. Not being satisfied with lack, but being abundant. Okay, I didn't even talk about Amazon. The whole thing I want to talk about today was Amazon. And I don't know what happened. I don't know how I got off on so many tangents, but I didn't get to talk about Amazon. I will talk about Amazon tomorrow because someone asked me to clarify what I was saying yesterday. And I know I tried to cram it in at the end of yesterday and it didn't work out, so I have to expand it. So I'll talk about Amazon tomorrow. So tune back in. Essentially, I'm talking about the stock split that just happened with Amazon and is about to happen with Google and how we can benefit from it. Okay, I see some comments coming in. I'll check them out after the show because it's time for prayer time. And then after that, it's time for Sit with Rev Melissa. So until tomorrow, keep doing. Be a hero. Be your own hero, though. Don't worry about anybody else. Stay in your lane. Be your own hero. And remember that now is better than perfect in terms of everything, but especially in terms of investing. And I'll see you tomorrow where I promise I'm going to talk about Amazon first. Amazon first. All right, later.